All right. So next up, we have the founder of Sweet Assist, Mike Cuevas. Mike has been a friend of mine for, man, like half my life now, probably. Uh, we actually met in a mastermind very many years ago. And since then have, one, grown a great friendship, but two, we are business partners in a number of businesses together. He's also the mastermind behind some of our online marketing campaigns. And he may or may not show some of them today, but if not, we'll post them in the group where you can see how we leverage Mike's teachings to attract more agents with video content creation. I'm sure he'll break it down for you, but the goal we always have to remember in recruiting is you have to be omnipresent and you have to lead with why it's important, get their attention and work the system. So we look at recruiting on, or really any funnel as a three-step process. The very top of the funnel, we want to make them aware that we exist. Second part of the funnel is we want to give them content to help them consider that we're the right decision. And then lastly, convert. And Mike has been instrumental for us creating all those different assets. Today, he's going to break down his genius for you. If you have questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat box. We'll take the questions at the end. And this will be the last presentation for today before we wrap up and get started again tomorrow. Mike Cuevas, welcome to the Broker Owner Challenge.
What's up, guys? Thank you for today. Thanks for the intro, Sammy. Folks, we're going to go into how to use video for recruiting and how to use video for attraction. And I just want to make sure, Sam, you see that my slides on right here and my sound is okay before I get started. Okay.
You're all good, buddy.
Cool. So let's go right on in here. This is going to be engaged. This is going to be interactive, guys. So whatever questions you have, ask them in the chat. I will answer them at the end here. But my name is Mike Cuevas. I'm a recovering realtor, former broker owner. I've had a team. I've sort of dipped my hands in everything. I had a brokerage, I had a franchise, and a couple offices back in the crash days. I've had a large team of 29 agents. And now I have a company called Real Estate Marketing Dude, and we script that and distribute content, video content, specifically for brokers, agents, lenders, and anyone in the real estate industry all over the country. But I'll be the first to tell you that I hate recruiting agents. I am actually the worst at it. However, we attracted quite a bit. And personally for me, is I hated picking up the phone and be like, hey, dude, you know, kissing someone's ass for a couple hours just to try to get them to have coffee with me. And for me, that didn't fit my personality there. But what we ended up doing and what you're going to see in the rest of this presentation is sort of how we accidentally attracted them just through gaining and garnering their attention. But here's the thing I realized. Agents don't join your brokerage, they join your culture, period. Nobody's joining your office. And in today's world, like nobody wants to be recruited. What we saw was that there's usually some sort of pain point that led to somebody actually switching offices. And whether it's because the broker pissed them off in some way, shape, or form, we just knew that immediately upon that pain point, it's about who's on their radar when they do. You see, my agents used to jump around, and a lot of agents would jump around. Like personally, me, I was at 10 different offices as an agent throughout my career. And honestly, I only joined offices for culture. And every time I got sick in my office or my broker pissed me off, it was just a matter of who was on the radar with the first few offices I would interview with. So when we look at video and how we're using it, we're using video as a way to get noticed and then stay noticed. So in other words, video is not lead generation, it's personal branding and conversion. There's not a single video that you can do that you're going to go out there and I'm going to say, oh, this is going to work for every single person. Because it is more of a branding play. And what we're fighting for, we're not fighting like, hey, join my office because I'm the biggest, baddest brokerage along. We're fighting for the attention of that audience, which are real estate agents. And it's not the video script. I'm going to give you guys all my recruiting scripts today. That's going to be part of my challenge, what I give away to everybody. But it's not going to be the video script that converts them. It's going to be the person on the video that does it. All right. So at the end of the day, if you approach recruiting and if you approach video as a lead generation component, you're going to set yourself up for fail. If you approach it as a branding and conversion component, you're going to set yourself up for success. So why is video so damn impactful? We're going to do an exercise here in just a minute. But ultimately, it's just because of the way that we communicate as human beings. And 90% of communication is going to be based upon the tone and the body language that I'm using. It will not be based upon what I'm actually saying. As a matter of fact, the content in your videos, people will only retain 10% of what comes out of their mouths. As a matter of fact, that's what you guys are going to do. You guys will only retain 10% of what I share with you this afternoon. And it's just the way God made us. It's the way that we're wired at the end of the day. So with video, the reason why it's so impactful is because the way that we receive and store communication in our brain is through tonality and body language, 9 times out of 10. If I do this presentation like this, and I'm like sitting here like Ben Stein from the Dry Eyes commercial, and my voice is very monotone, sorry, no one's going to watch my shit. But if I'm out there engaging and I'm like this and like, oh, I'm running around, a lot more people I'm like, oh, let me see what that guy has to say. It's not what you say, folks. It's how you say it that sticks with people. All right. So let's go back and say, okay, what the hell do agents look for ultimately when they're joining a brokerage? And I know Long went through some of this stuff, so I'm going to skip right through this, but it's leadership, it's education and training, it's help with technology, it's marketing, it's culture and events. Last, from what I see, is actual split. We all heard the same saying. It's like 0 out of 0 means nothing, or 100% of 0 is still 0, right? Same exact concept. And people are absolutely looking for culture. That's what I think all agents join. So when you're doing it with video, what does that really speak at? Sorry, but the brokerage that's doing videos, like take Sam, for example. Sam has a ton of content going out there. Sam's an influencer. Sam's got a personal brand, and it's through videos that are being promoted. But just because you're communicating on video, what does that really suggest to the agent population? Well, video makes anyone an authority. If I wanted to start creating content on cooking right now, I'll make every single person watching this think I'm the next renowned chef. But the truth is, I wouldn't want to speak about that. But anyone who's on video is automatically assumed as an authority. Education, what the hell are we doing video for? We're training, we're teaching, we're coaching. Help with technology, your delivery mechanism is through video, marketing is video, and culture is expressed through video. So the channel of using video really speaks and addresses and positions you as a brand for exactly what agents are looking for, if that makes sense. So let's go ahead and do this little exercise right here. I like doing this when I give these presentations because I want to show you why it's all about impact. It's about impact and communication. And I want you guys to go ahead and type in the chat right now, and let's see what you guys say. What's going through your head right now when you see that image? What do you think? Boy, B-O-Y. Go ahead and type in the chat right now, folks. I want to see what some of your comments are. What is going through you? What are you imaging? What's going through your head? Okay. Don't be shy. Little kid, boy. Okay. Kid playing basketball. Good. All right. My son. Cool. It's pretty vague still, right? Well, now what do you think? Go ahead and keep typing in the chat. Go ahead and type into the chat. Tell me what you think now. What's that image say? How much more impactful is this image than this image? Cute baby, right? Okay. Now let's go to a video and let me go ahead and play that through. That's my good looking son. But you can see him, he's trying to talk, he's blinking, he's got his eyes there. Now, out of these 3 images, which was the most impactful way to communicate? You see, this is the billboard that your agents drive past in your community. This is a social media ad that's just in text image. But this is video content, and video out of those 3 images, this was the most impactful representation of a boy out of those 3. That's branding, that's conversion, and that's why people pay attention to it. All right. So at the end of the day, consistent communication to the same audience over time is how you build your brand. I have a real estate podcast I started 5 years ago. I never promoted it once. I never spent any ad spend on it. I just passed 1 million downloads this month. The reason we were able to do that was because every Saturday for the last 5 years, I keep showing up with content. And eventually, no matter what business you're in, the only thing that builds your brand or makes you unforgettable is constantly communicating to the same people over time, right? So those people, folks, for us and for recruiting, are real estate agents. If you keep your brand and your message in front of real estate agents with a value-added proposition first, always adding value, you're more likely to be thought of when the time that their broker pisses them off and they decide to move to a new office. It's as simple as that. This entire damn business is about attention, in my opinion. And if you don't believe me, let's just flip the script on you right now. All right. So how many times have your agents said this to you guys in the past 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months? I hear this all the time. People get so mad about, oh, my cousin just used another real estate agent. Well, my best friend forgot I was in real estate. Well, it's this exact same concept, guys. If the agents are marketing their databases are forgetting about it. Well, it's the same thing for us. Is like, if we're not staying in front of real estate agents consistently, well, we're not really ever building an audience, because the truth is that when an agent is thinking about switching, most of them have an idea already of where they're going to go. The more content and the more noise and the more you bang your drum around your brand and your offering, the more likely they're going to consider you when that time comes. And that's truly what attraction is. So what happens is that as you start creating content for a lot of these different real estate agents, you start building a brand, right? And that database of that contact information that you are targeting them with, and I'll talk about this in a second, now starts turning into an audience, okay? Does anyone know the difference between an audience and a database? A database is nothing more than the contact information of your broker metrics Excel CSV file spreadsheet. That information is data, and it's very valid data, but it's not worth anything until those people that are on the receiving end, those email addresses, those phone numbers, actually know who the hell you are when you open your mouth, when you create content. Well, what happens is, as you farm real estate agents with video content that adds value to them, well, you do it over time, and then those people start to take notice. Oh, there's that real estate broker who's always training agents. Oh, there's that person who's always, it just keeps popping up. That's what attraction is, guys. Content creation is just that. But there's a lot of different types of videos and content that we can create with recruiting. So what we're going to do is start breaking those down. There is a difference between core recruiting content and content that you have as ongoing videos. So everyone always asks me, what type of content am I going to use for recruiting? So just if you guys go ahead and type into the chat here, who's doing video right now with recruiting? And I'd love to see what you guys are doing, because I might call on one of you guys and use you as an example. But let's go over core content for recruiting first, and then I'm going to go in through different types of content. So core video content. Have you ever, what is your offering? And where do agents learn about your offering at? Right? Where would you go? If I wanted to join your brokerage right now, where would I go to? And then where can I sort of view what's offered there? Do you have a website? And what's on that site? I believe that to do this, I think you do need a central hub. You need a centralized website. And I'm going to show you why in just a second. Regardless of what we sell, though, folks, this is what's interesting. Everybody has the same BS meters. And as long as you know how to address those BS meters, it doesn't matter what you're selling. If you're selling video services like myself, or you're selling recruiting services, vacations, or couches, for all I care, it doesn't matter. Everybody has the exact same BS meter. And when you're closing and you're converting, you want to speak right at that BS meter. So let me show you what I mean. Look at my website right here. This is the top of my website right here. And you're going to see that I have a bunch of core content on my site. Every single one of these pages on my website has a video on top of it. And every single one of these pages are dedicated to do one thing: reverse and combat sales rebuttals, or answer questions. And regardless of what I'm selling, everybody has the exact same questions. Question number 1, what are other agents saying about them? Because what someone else says about your service is way more powerful than what you can ever say about it yourself. So a reviews page. Can you imagine booking a vacation without freaking going and seeing what the hell other people said about it? The truth is, you don't book that damn vacation, do you? Not at all. You go to the reviews page. This is why every website has a reviews page, because the reviews page is there to give third-party opinions based upon what other people said about them. So what if you had a reviews page on your site And it had nothing more but then happy agent success stories of videos and other people talking about how badass your offering is. For me, I have to put testimonials of agents saying, hey, Mike is really good at videos. You should hire him. Okay, it's the same thing. It addresses a mechanism because everybody's going to ask the same question. What are other people saying about that? That addresses that. Next piece of core content, frequently asked questions. Have you ever been on a website and noticed that you just immediately go to the FAQ page? Why do you do that? Well, I'll tell you, it's because you go and you're like, this looks really good, but what other questions have I not thought of before that other people are asking? That's why virtually every major website that does any sort of commerce online will have an FAQ page. Well, why doesn't your brokerage have an FAQ page? You as a broker know exactly what those frequently asked questions are because you should know why people aren't joining you, right? So next page, that's frequently asked questions. Next page, comparison. What is the difference between you, Keller Williams, Big Block Realty, EXP, and every other brokerage in your offering? Why don't we have a recruiting page? Why don't we talk about our differences in the open? I'll tell you who my competition is. My competition is a company called Viral Marketing. The truth is they do something totally different than what we do. And some people are right for them. Some people are right for us at Real Estate Marketing Dude. But either way, I will put my competition front and center on my site. You know why? Because most people are like, fuck, this guy must be legit. He's not scared to talk about his competition on the site. See, we always hide from that. Show the difference, guys. There's nothing wrong with that. If anything, what are you doing? You're being 100% transparent. Reviews, frequently asked questions, compare, an about page. Nobody joins the brand, they join the broker. I said at the beginning, everyone's recruiting into your culture. And the about page is how you get that face of your company. The about page is exactly how you sort of say, hey, here's who I am. I'm also a father. I'm a Christian, I'm whatever it is that you are, because that's ultimately what people follow, the human side. Learning Center podcast, these are ongoing contents, right? But here's my point. Nobody comes to my site and say, hey, Mike, I'm wondering if Mike knows what he's doing. They go to my site to say how I'm doing it and then decide if I'm the right fit for them. Just like you do when you're going on Travelocity and you're trying to book a bunch of vacations or one vacation, you're always going off of the same exact stuff that I said. So what the hell's the difference? Why can't we recruit the exact same way? Well, I'm here to tell you can. So what I like to do with those main pages of a website is put a video on the top of every page, because video is the most impactful way to communicate. And it's the only thing that you can have 24/7 that sells your shit for you. Because as long as that video is there, well, guess what? Well, that's why it's there. It's there to help sell your stuff and address every single rebuttal that they're going to have, period. Since I put those pages up on my site, I have people who will buy our products and services without a demo. That means they're working, and I'm selling $1,500 to $2,500 products. So you guys can have the exact same thing. People will reach out to you, but they want to see what you're all about. The video there is to humanize you. The content there is to explain. You can see Big Block Realty site right here. Big Block has a recruiting page. And what he has here is he has a blog with realtor marketing tips. We're going to talk about that next. They got an FAQ page. There's a testimonial agent review page here. They have a commission plan page. They talk about their support. But if I'm an agent wanting to join Big Block Realty, I'm looking at what they offer at Big Block Realty. Not just, hey, we're the best damn brokerage because so-and-so said so, and I'm going to help you win. No, it doesn't work anymore, folks. We got to come up with some value add, because people join your brand. They join your personal brand. More importantly, they're converted by the culture or the offering that you have. This is a branded website, but here's Tim Ray in Kansas City. He owns a HomeSmart office. Tim Ray created a totally separate personal branded website to build his personal brand. It's not called HomeSmart. It's not called anything to deal with his brokerage. It's called Surviving Real Estate, because Tim is a coach and he's going to position himself as a coach, and he's going to create a lot of conversations in the meanwhile. And while he creates those conversations, what he's really going to be doing with them is trying to convert the conversations he has. Now, I don't think I'm going to get sound on this, but what we're going to do is I'm just going to play these in the background. and just sort of let them go through, because you won't hear sound being that we're on Zoom right here. So Tim has a video here, which is a comparison video, and he's really talking people through, okay, what's the difference between joining HomeSmart versus joining other brokerages? And in his particular case, his USP for his agents, he's like, look, I help you build your brand, not HomeSmart's. And that's the difference between joining a 100% shop versus joining 80 or 50% type of shop. We are here to build your brand, not ours. And we're just the engine behind you. Whereas maybe say like a Compass or like a Realogy type brand might be more into, hey, they're selling their brand. A lot of agents join those brokerages because of the branding and the imagery and all of that. So that is equally as important too. Sam, is there any reason my video's not showing on here?
Your video is showing, Tim, right?
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
I mean, my face video. I just noticed my icon or my
No, that's me. I'm just muted.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay,
yeah,
you got
your
me.
face
All
is
right.
on.
Cool. Just making sure, because I'm like talking with my hands and I'm saying like, we got to talk with tonality and body language. And if you're not seeing me, I'm started defeating my own point here. But here's the point is that like Tim is just getting his face out there, right? Remember, nobody's going to remember what you say. They're only going to retain 10% of your content. So it's all on how you say it. But this video will sit on top of one of his core pages on his site. Next video, agent reviews. Folks, every broker here, at the bare minimum, start creating content and getting reviews of the agents that have joined your office, because they can sell your shit so much easier than you can. Like I'm telling you, I could tell you guys just from being in the fly in the wall Big Block, nearly 50% of their agents are recruited from other agents of introductions into the company. That's because they're running a killer culture. But everything you guys do is content. This video right here can be used for ads. It could be used on your website. It's there for a lot of different reasons, because people are wondering, what is everyone else saying? Not what Tim's saying, because if it's just Tim, well, it's really hard to sell your own stuff. Frequently asked questions video, same concept. He has 3 questions agents ask him all the time. He addresses it up front on a piece of content. And he addresses those 3 questions, and it sits on top of his frequently asked questions page. Directly below are the rest of a bunch of frequently asked questions that he may have about his brokerage. Next video, commission plans. Which drives me nuts. Like realtors don't talk about what they charge online. Like that's the best piece of content you could create. But why don't brokerages do it? Justify your commission plans. Tell me what I'm getting for the money and tell me why it's worth it. Again, it puts a face with the name. Agents are going to look at your different splits. Call to action video. You have to ask them to join your office sometime. Eventually, you're going to have to ask them. You're going to have to ask her for the next date, right? I'm going to start relaying this to dating in a second, but call to action video. So what I'm walking you guys through.
Mike, real quick, I don't know if you said this, but I want to connect the dots that like, this isn't just living on your website. Like that is when we were talking about an online Facebook funnel, right? Like you're starting with that first video and you're working through all these videos to make them aware, to get them to consider, and then to conversion. So these things have, multiple purposes. Sorry to interrupt.
Nope, 100%. And I have a slide at the end that'll show you where those different videos would go at what stages of the funnel. But what I just walked you through was core content, right? That's like the stuff that's like, here's what we're all about. It's your offering. It's your baseline. It's the stuff that lives on your website. It lives on your YouTube channel. It lives anywhere else. It says, join my brokerage. But you have other types of content because we still need to create ongoing stuff, because we need to, like what Sam said earlier, is we need stuff to make people aware of us, right? You can't just keep promoting those same videos. See, I don't want anyone to see the videos I just went through with you guys until after they've known who I am, after I've added value. And I'll tie this together at the very end here. So let's talk about, when we started recruiting, I had an exit realty office and I had one in the city of Chicago and I had one in Wheaton, Illinois, in the suburbs. And at that time, it was all short sales, foreclosures and REOs. And we recruited up to, I think it was 64 agents in a 12-month period with no recruiting plan whatsoever. My recruiting plan was to get on stage, start teaching people about short sales and how to generate more referrals. And that was it. Agents attracted. Okay. What we're going to talk about now is sort of how you create more awareness with different agents and how you sort of get on their radars to begin with. What I just walked you through is all the core stuff that I would have on my website. That's what I would call retargeting content, conversion content, but I'm not going to lead with those types of videos. Recruiting is very much like dating. If you ask them to join your office in the first call, you don't stand a chance. But if you make them laugh first and giggle a couple times and show them how to do a couple things on Facebook their brokerage isn't, now you've obtained a permission to ask them to go home with you. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through what we do in creating awareness for realtors we may have never met before. And it's all about creating content realtors want. We love creating shows. I love creating an excuse to pop up. If you were going to start a podcast, we've all heard the concept of starting a podcast, and a lot of brokers think about starting a podcast. What would you do? You'd create a show. You'd name your podcast first, and then you'd set up a publishing schedule, and then you would take that content and then you would put that in front of a bunch of real estate agents for this term. Well, this is the exact same strategy, except we're not doing a podcast as our piece of content. We're creating a video series full of real estate agent marketing tips, wins, and tricks and hacks. So what Tim did in that example is we created a show or a group. We created a brand called Surviving Real Estate. Surviving Real Estate is all about agent tips, tricks, and hacks. Now, when Tim is out there creating content for a bunch of agents, he's doing it in the form of a story, and he's coming from a place of contribution. So he's saying, welcome to another episode of Surviving Real Estate. Today, I'm going to teach you on how to survive a multiple offer situation in market climates just like this. Let's go. Great. Tim now has an excuse to keep telling his damn story. So what we did with Tim is he started creating a lot of content around surviving real estate. Surviving real estate is the very first piece of content that most agents who's never met Tim see. He does anything from ongoing training tips to real estate marketing advice to he did multiple offers, transactional training tips. Folks, we're all coaches. Like brokers, you're a coach in some way, aspect, shape, or form. And ultimately, that's what people are joining. But the reason why this works is because who do you think is responding to the coaching tips that you're giving? People who don't need them or people who do? You see, what's happening is that when we started recruiting agents, we were attracting them because the ones who would show up to the training events are the ones who are raising their hand for help. And when you start doing the job their broker is supposed to, that's where you win. That's why training events are so important. All right. So I want to walk you through a training schedule we used to roll with, and we'll get this thing wrapped up. I'm going to show you the big funnel in the end here. Folks, if you guys aren't, you could create your own content and host the trainings yourself, or you could just create ongoing contents, but you do need to come up with a theme for it. In Tim's case, Tim is surviving real estate. That's his theme. That's the brand. Surviving real estate allows us to create content and put it in front of real estates. Tim has a couple options. He could create content himself. Maybe he's doing 1 or 2 videos a month. Great. I love that. But Tim can also just start being the host of different training events. Maybe he calls it weekly Survival Wednesdays, and that's what he's doing with his in-office trainings. He could do 60 minutes once a week for Survival Wednesdays. He could mastermind with his agents. He could invite outside agents to attend those, but he's using content training with a theme to host the content because that's ultimately what people remember. Tim could also be doing a monthly outside guest speaker and then giving this to his agents, as well as having all of his agents invite everybody else. People like myself would love to chime in and do monthly events. I did one this morning. I have another one on Thursday. Like I would, if you guys want me to speak with your agents, I love doing those. There's a lot of people like me that would love to do that. However, there's so many people in your local community. You see, the people who show up to these events are the ones looking for help. And those are the ones that are prime to be recruited. Maybe once a year you have a large annual event, but just think of your content calendar. Think of your content schedule. If you're doing 4 weekly trainings a month, this is with your team, invite outside agents, 1 large monthly training a month that you're inviting outside agents, and then 1 large annual event, people start to take notice, but it's about having the content and the reason to bring them all together in the first place. All right, so let's go through distribution, video content. I'll wrap this up and take some questions. So creating the content's half the battle. What do you do with the other half of the battle? Step 1, video, email it to your realtor list, okay? If you notice, this dude's a mortgage broker. You can see this example, and he's recruiting real estate agents, right? So he has a show called Born and Raised. And what he's doing a business owner interview right there. But why he's doing the business owner interview, he's sending that content to his realtor list to start the conversation. I don't care what kind of emails you send out, but don't always try to sell me on them. Add value first, and I might actually start paying attention to you. If you start emailing with video email, it's a lot easier to put a face to the name because of the way we communicate. The video email will just get way more opens, all right? Your website, all of your content has to go on your website. And I believe you should have one. You should have a separate recruiting site in some way, shape, or form, somewhere where agents can really get an idea off of how you roll and what you offer. Your core content would live on your website. But for those of you that are creating ongoing training, realtor tips, and all that, that's your blog, right? That's the blog that you use. Every video you do, you put them on your YouTube channel. You do want to do your best to optimize those for rank. And then you take them to all your social platforms, right? You take them to your social media, your personal pages. That's where most people hang out. But for something like this, it's about running ads probably because you're recruiting. So you need more eyeballs on your offering. And this is what Sammy was talking about at the very beginning. So I want to walk you through and follow my mouse here. I'm going to walk you through sort of the 3 stages or 3 different types of content. One is awareness. We have to tell people what the hell we're doing. In the example I just gave you, the awareness strategy is surviving real estate, okay? This is the first bit of content. We want to create a lot of content with surviving real estate to put it in front of a bunch of real estate agents. So the type of content that would be could be training content, how to buy and sell, marketing content in general. Right? It's the stuff that I create for agents. Like real estate agents want to sell more houses, so help them sell more houses. Agent success stories. I love case studies. Agents love content that says this brand new agent just got 40,000 subscribers on TikTok. Here's how. Okay. Storytelling of agent success stories. So think about the agents in your office that would love to share their success stories. See, use them to float their egos. People would love to show that. This is awareness content. So what I would do if you're talking about running ads is that you can target these real estate agents because you guys all have broker metrics. You know you do. If you don't, you have some kind of way where there's email addresses and cell phone numbers of the agents you have. But the only type of ad you can even run on Facebook anymore is a custom audience. So upload your hit list of agents as a CSV spreadsheet. Put your content in front of them right there. Right? So this would be my first awareness right here. Interest would be content that I would send the core content to, okay? People who have expressed interest in the content I'm offering, I've now obtained permission to start telling them about my office, start telling them about my offering. That's where this core content came in. It's the core content that sells your guys' services or what you do or how you do it, right? But who am I targeting this content to? Well, I'm only targeting this content to people who have visited my website, who have engaged on previous content, or have viewed some of my videos in some way, shape, or form. So anyone who sees me, I want to pop back up and start sending them this kind of stuff. And then anyone who watches this kind of stuff, and now I want to ask them to marry me. Okay. That's when we go into retargeting. That's when we go into, or this is all retargeting, but that's when we go into the call to action video. Hey, thanks for watching my videos. I noticed that you've watched the last 2 out of 3. So I'm assuming you either think I'm really good looking, or you might want to think about maybe talking. One of the things we do differently right here at this office is that we like to help our agents win by implementing a blah, 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 blah. And if you're watching this video and you got this far, what I'd really like you to do right now is schedule time to work with me, and I want to personally coach you to the next level. I know you're thinking about it. I'm just scripting off the top of my butt. But the point being is that awareness, interest, propose. You cannot ask someone to get married on the first date. You need to make her laugh before you do. And how you do it is by adding value first, or telling her how nice her outfit is. Then you small talk, buy a couple drinks, and tell her how nice her personality is. And then you could ask her to get married. Okay? Is that making sense? Cool. So, Sammy, you can go ahead and bring me up right now. I also want to answer some questions. And here's what it comes down to, folks. Anyone who's on video consistently gets attention. And when you have attention, you'll attract more conversations that you never had before. With those conversations, you create engagement. And with that engagement, now you can build that trust. And with that trust, you can now start talking about recruiting. But you don't leave with the end goal in mind ever. Just like you wouldn't if you're taking a girl out on a first date.
100%. So a couple of things I want to touch on. And if you have questions, go ahead and type your questions into the chat box and we'll address them before we wrap up for the day. For us, we are recruiting in so many different ways. We talked earlier with Long about straight cold outreach, which works really well for us. But we were doing cold outreach far before we were doing like video targeted ads. The reason I say that is when we found we were doing the videos behind the calling, our conversions went up. The life cycle of conversion the time cycle shortened. It made everything easier for us. And for, some of the things that we're doing in our office is we lead sometimes with very pattern interrupt type videos where we did one kind of mimicking the Dollar Shave Club video where it's very in your face. We're lighting $100 bills. We're swimming in pools of money, stuff like that. We did like a Mr. Rogers spoof where it was like, will you join instead of will you be my neighbor? It was, will you be our agent? And we dressed up like Mr. Rogers and we took them through the town. And so you can have a lot of fun with this stuff. And ultimately remember that when you're targeting like with a custom audience, like Mike is talking about, your cost is so low that when you have a $300 or a $500 or even $1,000, whatever it is for you, acquisition budget, once you build a funnel that works and you're like, okay, we spent $2,000 on this funnel and it got us 4 agents. That's an acquisition cost of $500. Well, now you have a funnel that works. I would pour gasoline on that ad and push as hard as I can while, making sure that my ratios stay in that. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in.
I will add, it's important that, good point, Sam. Videos works amazing as part of an overall outreach. So the video overlayered to direct mail pieces you might be sending out to agents, overlayered with emails that are also getting those same things. Overlayered with even tax in some cases, if you can get through and find a legal way to do it. There's just a lot of ways to do it, but people do give in to the one they see the most, and that taking on the omnipresent approach, I know Tristan's going to talk about it in day 3, is extremely important. I can tell you guys that for real estate agents, I recruit real estate agents every day because I sell them stuff, okay? Except they pay me, they join you. It's the exact same thing, okay? But you have to create that value first. And I can tell you from experience that when I turn off my retargeting ads, my demos stop. When I keep them on, they just pick up. And every person says the exact same thing. I've been meaning to reach out to you and I've been following you for 6 months or 5 months or 2 years, whatever it is, but I didn't do it until I finally saw that ad. And why it's so important to be everywhere is because what happens with the agents is that their broker is going to do something that creates them wanting to leave in the first place. And the second they do, the first person they think of is more than likely going to at least get that appointment. That's why attention is so important. And video, just when you're there, they're like, oh yeah, let me go talk to that one guy. Let me go talk to that one guy. That meeting is where it's at. So
100% agree. So do you recommend, from Sal, do you recommend a separate brokerage recruiting site and a personal broker website? I'll tell you that at Big Block, we have both. We send our recruiting traffic to our recruiting site. It's 100commissionrealestate.com. And then we have bigblock.com, which is like our consumer facing website. And then we have a recruiter website. Now on our bigblock.com, there's a tab that says agents or whatever it may be, which will then send them to 100commissionrealestate.com. But we keep those separate for targeting purposes. And also we don't want for our agents to be in a weird position where they have our domain name on their sign and it's all about recruiting, right? We want to keep that consumer facing and have those two separate places for the attention. Anything to add to that, Cuevas?
No, that's how I would set it up too, because they're two totally different audiences. So, you know, how your brand is portrayed to consumer facing is totally different than how it's portrayed to agent facing. The copy is going to be different. The offers are different. The tabs are different. Even the components are the same, but you have to speak to agents and you can't do them. You're speaking to vinegar and oil. It's two different people. Right. So I totally recommend that. That's a good point.
So Ryan asks, would you recommend a separate YouTube channel to message agents separate from the one you have for consumers?
So love that question. If you're an income producing, if you're still in production as a broker owner and you are still producing, there's nothing better than leading by example. So anyone that we're working with that does that is, let's just say, start doing video yourself, right? So Ryan, let's just say you started a video strategy up. Here's what no one realizes. Let's just say I was out doing business owner interviews, or say I'm just doing videos as an agent. I'm running a YouTube strategy. When you create that content, you could take, all right, hey, you pick that business owner interview, you send it off to your database in your sphere of influence. But you could take the exact same video and then put it in front of your agent database and say, hey, this business owner interview just got 1,500 views and 3 referrals. Here's how. So it's all about multi-purposing that same content to different audiences, and how I lead in with that to my database is totally different than how I would lead into that with agents. But you always multi-purpose, and then you always lead by example. And video just has a ton of legs with recruiting right now. The act of shooting the videos, like you can see, I have a green screen studio here, but the act of shooting the videos, I could create 3 videos just on how to set this up. You know what I mean? And that could be in your studio, in your office, and then now you're anchoring your office. So there's just a lot of ways, but at the end of the day, it just starts by pressing record and dialing in the strategy. So if you're producing 100%, agents will want to learn how to do it. If I was a recruiter, I'd have a line of agents on my door. I do every day. But I'm not trying to get them to join my brokerage. I'm trying to get them to join real estate marketing, dude. So the concept is identical, you guys.
Love it. Great questions, guys and gals. If anybody else has a question, go ahead and type it in. Mike, I think you have a giveaway. Did you already discuss that?
Oh yeah. I'm going to give you guys all those core content scripts. I'm going to put them in the Facebook group. We usually charge $1,000 for this, you guys. So you guys can have the scripts. It'll be the format. They're exactly, I'll give you all 5 of them, and it's all the core content scripts. So shoot them. Like, it's the format. Shoot them. It's core content. If there's anything we could ever do to assist you guys too, feel free to reach out and ask.
Awesome. Thanks, Cuevas. If you have any questions, this is your chance to connect directly with Mike. If not, make sure you check him out at realestatemarketingdude.com. Follow him on Facebook, Instagram. I think you're on Clubhouse as well. So give him a follow and keep the conversation going. Any closing thoughts, Mike?
No, focus on attention. I think even on the individual agent, brand's never been more important, ever. And it's going to continue that way, especially with these iBuyers and everyone going after everyone's commissions. So at the end of the day, it's attention. The one way you could compete is through a personal brand against other brokerages, but also to the consumer level. Because remember, at the end of the day, whether you're selling real estate or you're a consumer on it, people still work with people they know, like, and trust. And that includes you brokers. The bigger your personal brand, the more you're going to attract. Sam can tell you that from experience. Agents join Sam. Sam's got a great personal brand, and they know what he's about, but that is also reflected in their culture in every aspect. So people join your culture, not your brokerage.
Awesome. One more question. Do you guys promote on Facebook for agents or LinkedIn? I'll tell you a big block. We do Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, really everywhere. We hit the mailbox. We'll be talking more about this throughout the next few days. We're hitting them literally in the mail. We're hitting them online. We're hitting them with phone calls. If they're in our email campaign, we're hitting them with emails. But we do our very best recruiting is from Google. When someone types in like real estate broker for agents or 100% commission real estate, because the intent is really high. But our second best is probably running Facebook video ads and creating that funnel. So the answer is both. Certainly don't miss YouTube. The nice thing about YouTube is you can do in-stream ads. That's the category. Your video you won't pay a single penny for a video view until it goes over 30 seconds. So the video pops up and 10 seconds later they hit next. You're not paying anything for that video to be seen by your target agent. And if they're going past the 30 seconds, well, great, you're happy to spend that money because you have them really engaged. So we really take the approach of doing all of it. Even Clubhouse has really helped for us. I mean, you want to really be everywhere. So hopefully that answers your question. If you have any other questions, go ahead and chat, throw them in. While you're doing that, just to recap on what's going to happen for the next couple of days. Tomorrow, we're starting again at 9 a.m. We'll have a couple of speakers tomorrow. Mike Bernier, who is Long's business partner, he's going to be talking about adding additional profit centers to your business on in-house type activities. I'll be touching out-house ancillary services on the last day. You definitely don't want to miss those sessions. I'll tell you that we probably do, I don't know, over $500,000 a year on ancillary services that we do not own. So like we own escrow, we own a bunch of different businesses. On the stuff outside of it, from moving services to solar and everything in between, we're getting paid. We're going to pull back the curtains on that for you. We're also going to have Mike Ferry here tomorrow. Mike Ferry is going to be talking about increasing per person productivity because other than recruiting agents, there is not a single activity that creates more profit for your business, even if you're a 100% shop, than doing more deals, increasing per person productivity. So he's going to come back and give you 20 different ways that you can support your agents in increasing their production, which in turn will help you increase your revenues with ancillary services, commission splits, etc. Last thing I have to say is, again, this show is sponsored by SweetAssist.com. We will be breaking that down further for you over the next couple of days, but SweetAssist.com is the first all-in-one A to Z platform for managing your brokerage and giving your agents a lot of tools from marketing and everything in between. It does transaction management, QuickBook integration. It's really robust and custom fit to support brokerages just like you. Everybody that's presenting that owns a brokerage is on SweetAssist, and they're also in Closing Table, two really good resources for you. But make sure you check out SweetAssist.com to learn more, and we'll kind of pull back the curtains throughout the next couple of days and help you understand more about that. Thank you for joining us today. Make sure you do your homework, post it in the group. We'll be monitoring it. If you are, an overachiever, shoot a video, post it, let us critique it, make some recruiting calls, use the scripts that we're given. And if you're in the hiring process, write your first ad and post it in the group so that we can take a look at it as well. For the most participation, whoever participates the most with these challenges, at the end of the 3 days, we're going to give away a really nice worthy prize. So make sure that you participate so we can make this impactful for you. With that said, thank you for joining. Will you have access to the slides from all the presenters? I think that we can probably get the presenters to upload their slides. I don't see a reason why we can't. So at the end of this, we'll probably keep the group live for about a week, and we'll put them in there before we do. Make sure, again, you check out SweetAssist.com, SWEET assist, ASSIST.com, to learn more from our sponsor. Hope you guys enjoyed the day. Thank you for participating, asking questions. Bye-bye.